Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So my Enphase research continues and I thought what is best than reviewing the product. So I was looking at a lot of Enphase product review videos because I want to understand the company, but I also want to see from the ground what do people say about the product. And as far as I understand, Enphase works a lot with installers. And I found this really great installer who explains what is the pros and cons of Enphase and how does it work. And he's an installer that works with a lot of microinverters and he installs a lot of solar, and he seems to like Enphase over all the others, and he gives honest viewpoints. So we're going to look at this, and all I ask for you is make sure you hit the like button and of course make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. So let's look at this.
Hi, it's Matt at GI Energy.
By the way, before you hate me in the comments like some of you always do, it's not my audio. You can hear my audio is good. The video of this audio really sucks, and I will try to make it better post-editing, but please don't be about it in the comments. I know it sucks.
Through a few inverters and panel manufacturers. Today we're looking at Enphase microinverters, the pros and cons, and without going into too much technical detail. Enphase is an American NASDAQ listed company that was founded in 2006. They sell microinverters across the world, and as of the end of 2020 have shipped over 30 million units in various countries. They continue to be the leader in microinverter technology amongst a few other select players, and let's have a look at some of their gear. This is the IQ7 Plus microinverter, which is their current range. They also make this in the IQ7A model that's used for higher wattage or higher power class panels. Some of the larger panels like your 72 cell, 440, 450 range, especially in commercial installations. So this will actually sit underneath each panel on your roof. So the differences between a microinverter and a string inverter are pretty straightforward. String inverter sits on your wall, you have your panels installed on your roof, they'll run down into that string inverter, compared with a microinverter that'll sit underneath each panel. So this will sit underneath each panel, you'll have Enphase IQ cable that then runs back to something that's called the Enphase Envoy. The Envoy is installed close to your subboard or switchboard meter box in a separate distribution board just to keep everything neat. So this is essentially the brain of the operation. So, as I said before, all of the microinverters will be wired into the Envoy. This then provides all of your monitoring. So you'll have your production monitoring, consumption monitoring, export control potentially in certain areas, or if you're looking at larger systems, depending on if you've got single or three-phase power, and just controls everything throughout the whole system. In Australia, the Enphase head office is located in Melbourne. They've also got an office over in Christchurch for New Zealand, and their guarantee is if you ever call Enphase directly, someone will answer the phone within 60 seconds. So if you're looking into this product, obviously one of the things that you want to have peace of mind about is the service and backup from the manufacturer. So if you find Enphase's phone number online, and we'll provide it as well, you can obviously test that out and just make sure they do answer within 60 seconds, which I know a few of the guys in our office have done that a few times before, which is always a great feature, obviously, to know that they do what they say they'll do.
So this is crazy. I actually read this in their investor presentation that they have this goal to answer the phone calls in less than 60 seconds. And it's crazy to hear from an installer that they actually do this. And I'm really happy. As I said in my earlier video, that they will probably be directly competing with Tesla at one point when Tesla ramps up their solar panel production. And I'm not happy about this. However, I know that customer service is not Tesla's strong suit, and this is why I think that they really have an edge. And it's great to actually hear it from the other side, not just from the conference call.
As I mentioned before, a lot of systems that are installed use a string inverter. So I suppose, what is the difference with a microinverter and when are they used? So The sort of easy segue to a microinverter is for a roof that has some shading, or maybe some different gables or angles, a tricky roof design or very intricate roof design, a smaller home like a townhouse or a terraced house where the roof space might be shared, and there may be a body corporate. But the real one that most people will refer to is the shading. So the reason for that, as we've explained in other videos with a string system, is you may have 10 panels installed in a string. If you've got a string inverter, it'll be reduced to the power of the weakest panel. So a lot of people will talk about the Christmas lights. If one of the Christmas lights goes out, the other Christmas lights that are running in that series will all just go out as well. So with Enphase, because each panel's got that microinverter underneath, they'll all operate individually. This also means that the startup of the micros is a little bit earlier in the morning, and they'll run through to a little bit later in the afternoon or evening in summer. Because each one is individual, there isn't a minimum startup voltage for a certain number of panels like there are with other inverters that are on the market. So if we move away from shading with the microinverters, which is obviously their clear feature that's pretty obvious, what else do they do, or what else is attractive about the system? So another huge advantage of a microinverter is safety. So because the microinverter sits underneath each panel, the conversion of power from DC to AC is done at panel level. So again, rather than running a DC cable back to your inverter, everything's done on the roof. So this means that running through the roof, through your house, is 230, 240 volt rather than 600 volts potentially with a DC system. Now, a professionally safely installed solar system with a string inverter will have a really low chance of ever having an issue. However, over time, as the industry's matured a little bit and we've seen some of the issues that have occurred over time, there's been a little bit of a shift towards inquiries around the safety of the system.
This is very good news as an investor, because one of the main competitors is obviously this string, whatever they call it, it's a bit late, I don't remember, so the string connection on the solar panels. And he said that as the industry matures, there is a move towards the microinverters because it's just safer. So it's very interesting to know.
Particularly with a lot of commercial installations like a childcare or a school, where safety is obviously paramount and it's something that's required as part of their tender or application process. Another fantastic feature about Enphase is the flexibility. So because you're installing the system micro by micro, you could start with 10 panels, 20 panels, 30 panels and install them over time, just block by block. So additional micro, additional panel, additional micro, additional panel. You've already got the system in place there, you've got the envoy, the distribution board, you're simply just building it like Lego. So the main other point about Enphase is the reliability. So we've already touched on when a panel might be shaded and then it would knock onto the others in a string. What about if a panel fails or has a defect or an issue or something, not just shade at a certain time of day, but an actual failure? So with a string inverter, as before, that panel would then affect the others in the string. With a micro, if for any reason one of the panels fails, then the other 10 panels that were there all continue as if nothing's happened to them. The other major benefit there as well is that the monitoring is excellent. So when we're looking at that reliability, if there's any shading, we can see it at a panel by panel level. So let's have a look at some real life examples of some of our systems. So we're looking at a system here that was installed in Western Sydney. There are 19 390 watt Hyundai panels that are installed, each with an Enphase IQ7A inverter underneath. So if we look at the eastern string of panels, the customer here has 9 panels in a row. If we look at the difference between the wattage that's been produced to 1:45 on an August day, the lowest wattage that's been produced from one of the panels is 157 watts. The highest in that row is 977. So if we were using a string inverter, all other panels would have been brought down to that level of the weakest panel, producing 157 watts. As a result of using Enphase, there's 2 panels that have produced less than 200 watts, and then the other 7 have all produced more than 930. So without Enphase microinverters, to this point in the day, this system would have produced around 5.5 kilowatt hours less power. Then if we look at the western face, we're obviously again looking early afternoon. The weakest panel is sitting at 80 watts and the best panel sitting at 580. So a clear difference there of 500 watts between the best and worst. The other panels are sitting between 230 and 550 watts. So again, on the western face, even to this point in the day, we'd be looking at a reduction of about 2.5 kilowatts. So throughout the whole system, about 7 to 8 kilowatt hours less production. And what we're looking at here so far is only 10.44 for the day. So if we didn't have Enphase, we'd have produced about 2.5 kilowatt hours of power, which is pretty ordinary, even on a winter's day. The other example that we're looking at here is a system in Brisbane on the north side. This client came to us early this year looking for a solution because he had some trees to the north of his home that he plans to trim over time, but took a real interest in how the system actually is affected by those trees. So you can see that we have 16 panels that are facing north, and anyone that knows what they're doing in the solar industry in Australia will obviously tell you that a north facing panel will produce more power on average per day than an east or a west facing panel. You can see that at this time of year, again we're looking early afternoon, the system, the best performing panel on the north face has produced 230 watt hours for the day. The weakest panel, 116. So not too much of a difference in this example here between the run of all north facing panels. However, when we compare it to the east face and the west face, the best panel that's facing east has produced 564 watt hours for the day, and the west 617, obviously with a few hours of additional production. So if this was a house without any shade in August in southeast Queensland, you'd expect the east or west face to produce roughly about 15, maybe 16, 17% less power than a north facing panel. But because of that shade that's present, the east and the west face are actually more productive and are giving the customer more power that they can obviously consume at that time of day. So we're going to continue to monitor this system with this client, where we can actually check back in after they get some of the trees trimmed or potentially even removed, and then obviously enjoy the benefit of the additional production that will occur there. So Enphase microinverters installed in Australia come with a 10-year warranty. If they're installed in any other country, so in America, obviously where their headquarters are, they receive a full 25-year warranty. So the same micro is received here, all comes from the same factory, but we only get a 10-year warranty. As we're an Enphase Gold installer, we can potentially increase that warranty up to 25 years, roughly for about $33 per micro. And then if it's paired with an LG panel or a Q-cell panel, your system then has a full 25-year warranty on the panels and the inverter, which is pretty amazing really. Enphase have done over 1 million hours of testing on their micros. They've submerged it in water for more than 30 minutes. It's IP67 rated, it's fully enclosed, so no water, no salt can get into that inverter if you're installing it in a marine environment. It really has been put through every test that's out there. So I guess what you'd probably ask is, there must be a downside. And I guess the downside really is you pay a little bit more for them. So in terms of an Enphase compared to a quality string inverter like a Fronius or an SMA, you're roughly paying about another 25 to 30% for Enphase. So it's not the most cost-effective solution on the market. However, with the benefits that we've run through in terms of the reliability, the safety, the flexibility, obviously the shade handling if you have a situation like that, it may actually result in a better return on investment because of the increased performance. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks.
So very interesting video. I think he gives fantastic data about the product and the real world usage, and so it looks like it's more effective, It's better, safer in every way, and the only thing is that it's more expensive. But with everything that we heard, even if it's more expensive, you get a better return on your money because you produce more electricity because you're not limited to the lowest producing panel in your system. So I'm very happy with this video. I like this company more and more the more I look at it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and make sure you're subscribed. If you want to join the Patreon squad, check out the link in the description box below, where you can get direct access to me and to my evaluation models and some exclusive content. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.